we a go down the flank. Like a baller, we go down the flank. You're cheap, pretty young, get in your tank. But them new dance, you know where people can't push. Give them a run, give them a run. Give them a run, we are the girls that have fun. Give them a run, give them a run. Give them a run, we are the girls that have fun. I've been loved that before, yeah, but I've never seen a dance like this. I've been loved that before, yeah, but I don't wanna come top to this.
Yo, what is up, people? Welcome back. It's Bigger Ford and Nerdman, and we are here to talk some Spider-Verse. What's up, Nerdman? How you doing?
I'm cool, man. Best intro in the business.
I appreciate it.
I was vibing to that tune, man. I was like, yeah, you know, got before. Yeah. Anyway,
I love that song. Yeah. I love it, and you know, I like the reggae version to it. But I was watching this guy who does like mashups, and he did that one, and I was like, oh, I got to take that. So I took it, and yeah, pretty much enjoyed it. So, what up, guys? We are here, and we are going to talk about what I think is the best movie this year.
wow.
It's the best movie this year.
I'm trying to think. I don't think it's the best movie this year, but
what was better?
So I think the last few comic book movies have all been really good and all had their strengths and weaknesses. But they were all, you know, apart from Ant-Man, they were all pretty good. So I enjoyed them on different levels. Dungeons and Dragons was good. There was a lot of different movies that were good. I don't know.
I didn't see it.
I like Shazam! Fury of the Gods as much as the Spider-Man movie. I like Guardians of the Galaxy maybe a little bit more than this Spider-Man movie. But we'll get into it. I'll explain why. So I do think it's a good movie.
Yeah, what are your initial thoughts? Go ahead.
Look, the weakness.
We won't spoil anything yet. We won't spoil anything. We're giving our initial thoughts, and then we'll go into spoilers later.
The weaknesses for me of this movie are the pacing. Which I felt that the beginning seemed really drawn out, and maybe because I was like coming in expecting like a kids movie, because the first movie, although it's like, you know, the Into the Spider-Verse, although it definitely is like has a sophistication about it, but it's not so sophisticated as to alienate children, right? So maybe I was going in there expecting like a kids movie, and this is not really a kids movie. This is kind of like an art house movie. It feels like Everything Everywhere All at Once, and people hyped up that movie. And for me, and I was like, yeah, it's a really good movie, but it's too long. It's boring in places. Like literally, I was just like, are we going to have another emotional speech between the parents and the kids? Again, super long, drawn out, really, you know, in places not funny in the beginning as well with the parents. Like the humor was kind of grating on me in a way that the first movie, the humor didn't grate on me. Overly long, confusing action scenes, especially because of every single frame, and it's true, every single frame you can pause of this could be seen as like an artwork, like a Banksy artwork, you know, the graffiti artist. But at the same time, you know, the problem is every single frame is different. Like, I'm watching the movie and it's like they're trying to show the multiverse before we even get into the multiverse. You know, like every shot is like it could have been done by a different artist or rendered differently or something like that, and it's like it's cool in some places but they do it everywhere and it's kind of overdone, so it's like it's a lot to take in. And I'll tell you this, if you're an epileptic, don't go to watch this movie.
Oh yeah. Yo, they have the sign on the door. When I seen it, because I didn't notice when I first went in, but like I had to go to the bathroom, so I went to the bathroom and I'm walking back in the theater. I seen something on the door. I'm looking at this. I'm like, oh, this movie may have lights and stuff that can actually cause seizures, and I was like, holy shit. Okay, but I will say
I nearly had a seizure. I nearly had a seizure.
I wouldn't say that.
Even epileptic.
I wouldn't say that. I did enjoy it. What up, JG? What up, Dijwan? Thank you guys for popping in. I did enjoy it. I thought it was really good. I can see where the animation style kind of got a little bit like, I guess you could say they did a little bit too much with it, right? But I kind of think it fit for some of the things that they did. I'll also say that they probably amped up the jokes a lot more in this one than they did in the first one. But I also find that a lot of the jokes made me laugh. You know what I mean?
Yes, a lot of them made me laugh as well. I'm not saying like all of the jokes were bad. I just think most of the stuff with the parents was the stuff that I was just like, this is going on long, bro. This is, I get it.
See,
like, you could have done that scene in half the time. And it's like, I know you're trying to build up the stakes. You're trying to build up the emotion that the families have.
Yes.
But what it did is I kind of found the dad of Miles goofy in this one. And there's like a little bit in the beginning where they're talking about him going to a school or whatever, and they're just being idiots. It's like, who doesn't want their kid to go to Princeton? Like, what kind of parents are these? But
you see, that's
it just doesn't make sense, and it's all for a joke.
Yeah, but that's a trope, though, nerd man. You can watch like a ton of movies where the kid is going to college and they want to go somewhere far, and the parents are like, "No, that's too far." Like, it happens all the time. It's
not
like
if they're going to Harvard, bro.
Movie. Yes.
If they're going to like Delta University or something like that. You're going too far, but not like a big school like that. Especially when you come from that background.
The movie with Martin Lawrence.
Like, oh man, you've got it.
And it's the one I could think of off the top of my head. The movie with Martin Lawrence and Raven Simone. She was going off to college far, and he didn't like that. He followed her over there. Now, it is a comedy, but it is a trope that they do in a lot of these movies.
Yeah, but you're using a Martin Lawrence movie. That's not that doesn't say to me. Like,
no, it's a comedy, right? No, it's a comedy, but what I'm saying, it's a trope, and it's the only one I could have fucking think of right now. I'm sure there's more. But
where was she going? Was she going to Harvard? Was she going to like an Ivy League school?
It was an Ivy school. Yeah, 100%. I don't remember what school it was.
It was an Ivy League school. Okay,
it was an Ivy League school. Yeah.
And he didn't want to. But I just think that's.
But you see, that's the thing, though.
And
it's not like they didn't want him to go there. It was just like, that's far, and they were kind of shocked with it. But they ended up, after he's saying what he wanted to do,
they had like a 5-minute conversation about it. It was like, my God, you just say, oh, that's far, it's further than I was expecting it. But I'm proud of you, and keep it moving. Keep it moving.
But
I know
that was character
too
building.
Much. It's too much. It's too much.
Nah.
It was the same with that Everything Everywhere All at Once. Great movie, held back by just they threw in everything, and it's like you could cut that movie down to 2 hours, and it will be better.
It's funny because you can watch Dune. You've seen Dune, right? You like Dune, right?
No, not really.
You watch Dune. Oh, okay. I thought you liked it, but you can watch, and there's people that will like a movie like Dune, where it's just nothing but fucking talking and blah 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 blah, and it's like the greatest thing ever. You know what I mean?
I was bored as shit by that movie.
Yeah, 100%. Now when I seen the runtime, I was like, shit, this movie, because I was trying to get back for the OOC in time, right? And I figured it starts at 7, so I'm like, okay, it's about an hour 45, hour 55 movie. I should get back in time. When I seen it was 2 hours and 20 minutes. I was a little worried. I'm like, yo, that's long. That means there's going to be a lot of dragging out. But I was invested in everything that was going on. So it didn't actually feel like the movie was long to me. It just didn't.
Sure. Did you get any spoilers for this movie? Did you know what it was? Because I had no spoilers. So
neither did I.
For the first hour or so, hour and 10 minutes or something like that, I really didn't know what the story was about. Like, I didn't know where it was going with it. And it was only when the penny dropped halfway through as to what this is really, what the issue with Miles is in this multiverse, that I was like, oh shit, now I'm engaged, now I'm invested, now I want to know what happens. And that was almost, then you get like a really long fight scene, dude. Really long. This makes Man of Steel look like.
Mike said there was nothing wrong with the runtime of this movie. It could have been longer. No word of a lie, because I knew there's another one, right? My son didn't know. And when it ended, he was like, what the fuck? He was like, that's it? And I was like, yeah, there's going to be another one. And he was like, wow, like, he said it could have been longer. He was so invested in the movie. He enjoyed it. He was like, yeah, I could have stayed and watched like another hour of it.
Can I ask you and Mike and your son, are you all Spider-Man fans?
He's not my favorite character. He's not my favorite character, but I'm a Spider-Man fan. I'll say I'm a fan. Yeah, I'll say I'm a fan.
Yeah. And Mike, you a Spider-Man fan? You can tell me later, because I think part of the problem with this movie for me is I'm not a Spider-Man fan. I don't know this lore that deep. And there are bits that blew my mind, and I couldn't believe I was seeing it. And nobody has been as ambitious as this movie in terms of multiverse movies.
I agree.
Period. And for that alone, I applaud it.
I agree.
But my issue, like, if this was a Flash movie, like animated Flash movie, I would have been eating it up like
all into it. Probably. Yeah.
But the problem I have with this movie is like I just don't know this lore that much, and it's like it was a little intense to focus on trying to follow the story with all the different animation that they were throwing at me, with all these long drawn out scenes and long drawn out action. Like it felt like a manga movie at points, which isn't a bad thing. Did you get that sense where it felt like a little bit like the action went on like a manga movie more than like your average superhero movie?
I don't really watch manga, so I can't even comment on that. Like, I've never watched a like real manga movie, But Mike said same as Nzo, not my favorite, but always the first book I read when it drops. Yeah, I would like me too. Like when I was growing up, like Hulk was my favorite, right? I would buy Hulk comics religiously. Anytime the Hulk comic dropped out, I'd buy it. But then I'd go there and I'd see a Spider-Man comic and I'd buy it too, right? I'd be like, oh yeah, this looks interesting. Like the one with Craven, the ones where he actually turned into like the spider, when he got the black suit in Secret Wars. Like, so I would read them, and I'd read Spider-Man comics, but he wasn't really my favorite character. Sure. And Miles Morales, only thing I know about Miles Morales, to be honest with you, is the video game and these movies.
Yeah, but I mean, it's more of a Spider-Man. It's about the Spider-Man lore, more than like Miles Morales just plays into that lore. I'll say this: I liked Miles a lot in this movie. He's really does well as the center and the heart of this movie, and his relationship with Peter Parker is always kind of, the highlight of these kind of films. So he plays really well as the lead. I don't like his parents so much. And then the Gwen Stacy,
I actually love the mom.
Same problem. It was like when the mom's better than the dad. I'll give you that. But the same thing with Gwen Stacy. It was just like these scenes with her father. I get it. Like I got from the first scene what the issue was with her father, and then they just keep coming back. Like for the first 10 minutes, I was confused. I was like, am I watching a Gwen Stacy movie, or is this? I really didn't get it. I was like,
you see, I
I
said
thought
that
maybe
too.
they'd flip the script on me and I was watching a Gwen Stacy movie.
I said that too when it started off with the Gwen Stacy stuff. I was like, that's a weird way to start it. But I understand why, because once Miles comes in, it just kicks off to another level. You know what I mean? So to have Miles started and then cut to the Gwen Stacy stuff and then cut back to Miles, I could kind of understand why that could be a little bit jarring, right? So
It
having
was
her
super
in there.
jarring.
Right. So having her at the beginning, I was okay with that. And I loved the shit between her and her father. But Rogue Mike said, Lord and Miller have done in 3 hours what Bendis and all of the writers that followed him failed to do, make Miles a character. And that's what I wanted to say too.
Yeah.
Miles was great in this movie.
Yeah.
Like as a character, like he was a great character. I was invested in everything, man. It was so, I'm sorry. I want to know what you thought, because you said I know what Hans was gonna say, and I'll tell K-Dot. So I wanted to know what you had to say. I was gonna say about it. But if you were gonna say that I was gonna say I loved it, then yeah, you're right. I did.
No, I'll be honest. I thought you were gonna hate this movie.
Really?
I really did. I genuinely thought you would be, yeah. But when you said you like everything, everywhere, all at once, then I was like, oh, okay, maybe you might like it. But I had this feeling that, because it's very serious, it's a quite, somber, serious movie, and I don't think it's not that I'm saying you don't like intellectual stuff, don't get me wrong, but like you have a pattern of liking superhero movies that I've noticed, that I feel like you enjoy like more of the popcorn, big, flashy kind of movies. And this movie does have that, but it's also got
you know what?
a kind of seriousness to it.
Let me cut you off. Let me
Yeah.
cut you off real quick, because I'm gonna say this, and I'm pretty sure he ain't watching. I'm gonna say it too. Fuck you and Lunga. Why do you guys fucking think that? Why do you think that just because there's a lot of these popcorn movies that I like, it's all I like? It's not, right? Everything always all at once. I didn't see all of RRR, but I'm gonna finish it. That's good. I like fucking Lord of the Rings, you know what I mean? Which is a slow burn movie. Some people try to say I don't like slow burn movies. So I don't understand where you guys get. It's just because all we talk about now is the superhero movies, right? But when we talk about other movies that I've watched,
no, but even when I've talked to you about other movies that you've watched, you seem to have the
you
same
usually talk about bullshit
of...
like fucking Watchmen and shit. Like fuck, that was garbage, right?
No. I remember we were talking about like some other movies. I can't remember specifically which ones, but every time you're always like, I didn't like that movie. I don't like, even like Pulp Fiction and fucking you like the art house stuff, like seems to be something, the more artsy stuff seems to be something that is
that's
it can be off-putting to you. I'm not saying it always is, but
no. But you see, that's the thing, right? I don't mind the artsy movies. I don't mind anything like that. But if I'm not invested in the characters, then I don't care how artsy or good it is. It's just not gonna fly with me, right? So a lot of these movies may be good, but like Dune, like people could talk about like how Dune was so good, and it could have been, but because I wasn't invested in the characters, I just like Rogue One. People say Rogue One is like great Star Wars movie, and for me, it's not, because I hated the characters. You know what I mean? So for me, I think if I'm invested in the characters more than anything in the movie, then I will like the movie. You know what I mean? Big Bro said fire movie. Facts, Big Bro. Facts.
But can I ask? Do you just this one question? Do you think this is a kids movie? Yes or no? Like, because I'm confused by that. Like, was this supposed to be a kids movie?
I don't see why it wouldn't be. I don't see why it wouldn't be. There's no F-bombs. There's no killing. You know what I mean? There's jokes. Like, yeah, it's a kids movie.
You think? Because I would see a kid just looking at this, just completely confused. Like, and I don't often say that. I don't often say that because I'm like, I think kids can take in a lot more than people think. And I like the older kind of 90s stuff where it was trying to challenge kids a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Like shows like the X-Men animated series that actually try to challenge kids rather than
but when we
make
talking
things simple.
kids,
But this
when we
is
talking kids,
way
what
over
age
the
though?
line, bro.
Okay,
I'm
so when we
talking
talking
about
kids,
like 5 to 10-year-olds.
Okay, so if we're talking 5 to 10-year-olds, especially closer to the 5, 6, 7, 8-year-old, they may not understand what's going on in the movie, but the colors, the way it's drawn, this and that, that's what will appeal to them, right? All the other stuff I think is for older adults, and I think they drew it in that type of way because they know, the kids will be attracted to that.
The first movie, you could say that's a kid's movie. Like any 5 to 10-year-old would love the first Into the Spider-Verse, right? It's not.
Yeah,
it
but
wouldn't
would they
be
really
confusing
still
for
understand?
them. They'd be able to follow it. I don't think it's that difficult,
would be,
man. Not as
because
difficult as
if
this.
but if you go back and you think, at least, and I've done this before, and I'm pretty sure you've done it too, but you go back and watch movies that you liked, and then you hear these little and you hear these little jokes in it that as a kid you would have never understood, but now you're watching it like, hey, that's kind of a sexual joke that they put in there. You know what I mean? So I think
you get more out of it as an adult, but like I'm saying, like when I was a kid, I understood Aladdin. When I was a kid, I understood like The Lion King or something like that. It didn't like shock me when I was older and I watched it and I'm like, oh shit, there's a whole, there were jokes I maybe didn't get. There were jokes I didn't get back then that I'm like, oh snap. But it was pretty straightforward. I'm just saying this movie isn't straightforward in a way that I feel is digestible for the same audience
I can
that
understand
the first
that.
movie appealed to.
I can agree with that. I can agree that it's a little bit more heavier for younger kids. So if you're talking about the 5, 6, 7, you know what I mean? I can kind of see that. But I think like 8 or 9,
I'd say
10,
up to 12.
you kind of get
12. Once you're 13,
kind of get a little bit more of an understanding.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was going to say from 5 to 12, I think they might find this a little bit maybe 5 to 11 might find this a little bit challenging, but like
I wouldn't even say 11. I would say like 10, maybe 9 at the youngest that would really understand it. You know what I mean? But Big Bro said, I enjoyed this more than the first one, and the Multiverse was done better in Across the Spider-Verse than No Way Home. And you know what? I asked my kid that question because I had the same thing. I liked it a lot better than the first one, and I think it was better than No Way Home. And I hate to say that because man said that shit on fucking Twitter, and I was like, yeah, whatever. But oh my god,
it's way better than No Way Home, dude. It is not even.
God.
It's not, Well, I think the first one's better than No Way Home as well. So I'm being consistent. I think Into the Spider-Verse.
I wouldn't have an issue with that either. I wouldn't have an issue with that. I think this movie was well written. You know what I mean? I think it was well written. And there's the scene where they're breaking everything down to him. And I was like, yo, this is a movie. You got to watch it. Like when you got to pretty much watch it and pause almost every scene so you could see how many different Spider-Mans are in this movie. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. There's so many different ones.
You even had fucking the Prowler from.
Yeah. That was mad. That was crazy.
What I mean? Yeah. So.
That was crazy because it's the same with The Flash. I've stopped watching trailers now. You know what I mean? And I stopped watching trailers for this one. I wanted to go in completely fresh. And, I saw a little bit more of the media for Flash because I'm more excited about that movie.
Mm-hmm.
But, all in all, this one, I really, really didn't see anything. Like I saw maybe the first trailer or something like that, and that's it. And so for me to see, Danny Glover in there, like, as the Prowler. And that was dope.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just
Mm-hmm.
little bits like that. And then there was this, even the new Spider-Man from this new animated series that's really
Mm-hmm.
popular.
Mm-hmm.
He was in it. I think it was the
Yep.
voice actor as well, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a lot of stuff like that that I liked. And I'm going to say one more thing I disliked, and then I'm going to go on to the stuff I like, because I do think this is
Mm-hmm.
overall it's a really good movie. I like Into the Spider-Verse a little bit more. I think it's a little bit more linear. I think the story is told better. The story here is better, but it takes too long to get to the core meat of this story.
I agree.
In Across
I can agree
Spider.
with that. It takes long to get it because when we actually find out what the issue is, it's like right before the final battle. You know what I mean? So I
Right.
understand that, but I also wasn't even thinking about any of that. You know what I mean? And when it popped in, I was like, oh shit, this is kind of interesting, right? To me, it was
Yeah.
just like a regular trying to save the multiverse type of movie. But when they flipped
Yeah.
it on that explanation, I was like, oh shit, okay. I like that. So that's
I
why I
mean,
like it.
I like it as a twist. I just think it could have come a little bit earlier. I honestly was just watching this because I'm not into Spider-Man. So I'm just watching this and like, what's going on? Is it just this big multiverse thing that doesn't really make sense, and I'm just supposed to like follow along, like, oh, it's cool, he's going to different Spider-Verse. It didn't really have any meaning for me until the twist happened. And I'm watching the fight scenes were so long, bro. I was just like, it was getting me a bit like, with the Indian Spider-Man, and like he's flying around, and I
That
didn't
was
even really
fucking amazing, bro. That shit was
no, but
bad.
I
You
didn't
see,
even
that's what I'm saying.
I didn't understand how his webs worked. It was like I think he had
Oh,
like a
I
yo-yo or
gotta say
something like
this.
that.
Hold on. I gotta say this. I had no fucking idea that your fucking ass was in this movie.
What?
That was fucking you. That was fucking you.
What are you talking about? Who was
You
me?
know which Spider-Man I'm talking about? The fucking British one? That was
Spider-Punk.
fucking you. That was fucking you. I was like, Nerd Man's in this shit. Holy fuck.
That was actually
That
my
was you.
favorite one. That was funny enough. That was my favorite
Of
one.
course. That was you. I was like, oh fuck.
He was really good, because I was another thing that I didn't quite like about the movie. I thought the alternate versions of Spider-Man were less interesting than the ones in Into the Spider-Verse. Like they gave their like basic origins of like, where what was it, the Spider Pig? What was his name again? And then there was Noir, Spider Noir, all
Spider
of those
Noir.
kind of guys.
Yeah.
I just found them more interesting. They were more, fleshed out and more interesting than the ones that we saw in this one. But that's with one exception, which was Daniel Kaluuya's Spider-Punk, who was he was awesome. He was just awesome, dude.
So let's go through it.
And the last thing I was going to say was like this spot guy was getting on my nerves. I didn't really love the spot guy, like, and all his fight scenes were just like, oh my god! And then they're going to put him through the spot again, and then they'll do this. It was too much.
I actually, at the beginning where he first meets him, that was kind of a little bit, because I didn't really find it that funny. There was a few funny moments in it, but I was like, you know what I mean? But he got better for me. Like, I really enjoyed that. So let's go through it. You weren't a big fan of Spot. You said that the Punk Spider-Man was your favorite, but I thought the black woman, the pregnant one, she was good.
She was all right, but she wasn't fleshed out. I didn't get a sense of like her origin or what her story was, like in the way that they did Spider Noir, right? And I didn't expect them to do exactly the same thing as they'd done in the first one, but it would have just been nice to just get a little bit like more from them. Whereas the Spider Punk, he was just awesome. He was like, just as a character in himself, was kind of like on that same level as Spider Noir for me in the first movie. And I just missed those characters. I thought they were coming back, but they're coming back in the third one, which is cool.
In the third one, yeah.
So in a way, that's kind of nice. It got you to miss them a little, and then you're going to see them again in the third one. So I kind of get that choice. But yeah, no, there's not too much I didn't like about it. I'm going to tell you the stuff I liked about it after, but you go on. You've got the floor.
So there was Gwen Stacy. What did you think of her character? I liked her.
I like Gwen Stacy a lot. I thought there were too many emotional scenes with her and her father. Like they just labored and went on and on and on, and I was just like, let's hurry this up a little bit. But outside of that, I really liked Gwen Stacy. She was good.
So
voice acting was on point.
I'll say this. I felt some of the emotional scenes. I really enjoyed it. I was like, wow, like I'm actually feeling emotions from, because usually in the cartoon movies, I don't really feel it. You know what I mean? I don't really feel the emotions, but I actually felt them in this one. Like at the end when she's talking to her father, I felt that. So I was like, okay, that was cool. Now we'll get into Spider-Man 2099. Miguel, did you like him?
Yeah, I think for the most part I didn't really have any. Yeah, like he was great. Like he was one of the. I guess he's kind of like the villain. I mean, in some sense, right? And I love the way his powers worked. I loved his webs. Like the voice acting was cool because he went between like slightly being comedic, but like in a more cynical way. And then he just went straight into like kind of like
psychopath,
this is a
crazy,
very crazy guy. So I really like that element of him. So yeah, no, he was one of the better parts. As I said, like for me, the movie kicks off with the revelation at the center of the movie, and I don't know if we're spoilers. This is spoilers or non-spoilers.
Try and keep it vague.
Yeah,
because the movie just came out, so keep it vague.
The revelation that came out in the middle part of the movie was what made the movie for me. Once I understood that, then I was just like, oh, now I get this. And everything after that kind of worked for me. You know, like, because the fight scene suddenly had stakes that mattered to me. I'm not just watching, you know, this... Because there was a lot of stuff. I was just like that, and again, because they kept changing the style of the background, right? So when Spider-Man is trying to save a building, and the building keeps changing, you know, like what it is, you know, it's kind of hard, and then he's glitching all the time. All of this kind of stuff, I was just like, it's a bit distracting. They went overboard, but at the same time, it was a beautiful looking movie, and I think my girlfriend's really gonna like it. Actually, we're gonna go and see it on Saturday again because she really loves the art house stuff.
Hey, I don't say this much, but I left there saying I'm gonna see this again in theaters. I'm going to see this again in theaters. I'm going to watch it again in theaters. And I was like, yeah, I'm definitely going to do that.
And dude,
so what are your likes?
The soundtrack. The soundtrack was dope.
Oh,
the soundtrack had me from the jump when they played that you know the rap tune I'm talking about in the beginning. I was like, oh, I see you.
Yeah, me too. And I looked at my son and I was like, this is real hip hop. And he's like, "Ah, you old head." You know what I mean? I'm like, "This is the shit, bro." Yeah, 100%. I was bopping my head through a lot of the soundtrack.
I started rapping. I was like, rapping along to it.
I agree.
So that was really cool. I love the soundtrack. You know, I've been harping on about the visuals a lot, but the visuals, when it came to actually being in the multiverse, where it made sense that it was changing so much. I loved that stuff. And it was so ambitious in terms of, you know, now I don't love that they didn't go to certain multiverse worlds that they mentioned where it sounded like, oh man, that's going to be a really interesting multiverse world.
I know
multiverse worlds, they ended up going into were just more like, oh, something slightly had changed about, one character or another, as opposed to like the really weird ones that they kind of alluded to, especially in the beginning. Yeah. So I was like, I would like to see that one, please. Can I have one ticket?
I agree.
But that being said, where it did succeed in the multiverse that no other film has done is going into actual different versions of
universes,
Spider-Man that we've seen in live action, in different other kind of aspects. It went
What's up,
balls to
sci-fi?
the wall.
Yeah, go ahead.
It went balls to the wall with that shit.
I agree.
And still managed to tell its story coherently.
I agree.
At least in the end, anyway.
When the what's his name, the Dot or whatever the fucking that thing is, what's his name, the Hole or the Dot, whatever. Yeah. When he first, the Dot. When he first starts to go into some of the multiverses, and he pops up in the Lego one, I was dying. I was dying. I was like, that shit was funny.
That shit was awesome. I was like, are you serious? And then when you see all the Spider-Men together, and then you see the ones that you've seen before, there was one that disappointed me. Maybe I missed it, but I don't think they had him in here. You can tell me I'll just say it. Like the 90s Spider-Man animated show. I don't think they had him in here, right?
I think you see, that's the thing. This movie is a get it and pause movie moment, right? Where you have to pause certain scenes because if you blink, you miss it type of shit. You know what I mean? So I'm not gonna say he wasn't in there, but I believe he might have been there somewhere. And I love the scene.
But he definitely didn't have a voice. Because I'm sure the guy is still alive. I mean, he was one of the best Spider-Man ever. I know there's the new animated series, which everyone says he's really cool. The voice actor for that, you can't take away from that Spider-Man from the 90s. So
no, I agree.
I was a little bit like, oh, that would have been nice to see, but like and I would have liked to have one Spider-Man who was from those animated series, like play his Spider-Man like all through the film, like be a version of Spider. That would have been cool as well. So the multiverse stuff, I think they apart from what I talked about, where they didn't go to certain multiverses they alluded to, which seemed like they'd be really interesting, but apart from that, they delivered on the multiverse thing in spades, way better than No Way Home. And Multiverse of Madness, any of those films. This one completely destroys them, and I think in that sense, it's probably gonna, unless there's some crazy stuff in the Flash that hasn't been shown in trailers, I think it's gonna be, in terms of a multiverse movie, the most well done in exploring multiverses.
I agree with you on that. Because the Flash one, we may see, like, he may go through a few multiverses, right? But this one in general just showed you how, even though they, like you said, they didn't go to all of the multiverses you wanted to see, or even like a lot of them, but the fact that you got to see so many different Spider-Man showed you how big that the multiverse is, right? Showed you how many versions of Spider-Man there are. And I fucking love this shit, man.
I mean, it touched on a lot of them, and it was like, and I think the next one's gonna blow up. I actually think the next one is gonna be better than this one.
Me too.
I feel like a lot of this movie was the setup, and now you know the stakes. The next one is going to be so much better than this one.
And while I'm talking to my son on my way back, right? So we won't spoil it, but what Miles is trying to do, I don't think he's going to succeed. So just imagine, think of that. You get that whole third movie, and at the end, he doesn't succeed, right? That's gonna be very emotional.
Yeah, that would be. Um, I want to talk about this more. I've got to go very soon.
Yeah, we'll go about for another 5 minutes or so.
But we should talk about this again, like a spoiler review. Um, what was I going to say? Like,
So
so
I
the
don't.
music, the score, amazing. You know, towards the end, the score was incredible.
Mhm,
The voice acting for the most part was really good. I
mhm,
didn't love Spot, but as you said, he gets better towards the end when he's
mhm,
a little bit more serious. The rest of the cast, excellent. Daniel Kaluuya, standout for me. Shamir Moore, another standout. You know, who
mhm,
plays Miles Morales. Gwen
mhm.
Stacy, very good as well. Um, I like the Indian, the Indian Spider-Man a lot.
Me
He was
too.
cool. I liked his character. I thought the action
Mhm,
scene went on a little bit too long, but liked the character. Loved
mhm.
the you know, the because it was a world where I guess America was taken
Yeah,
over
yeah.
by
By
or whatever.
India
But
or
like,
whatever. Yeah, yeah,
but
yeah, yeah.
that was the kind of stuff I wanted to see more of. Like, to be fair.
Mhm.
And like find out a little bit more about those cultures, and you know, like just be on a little bit more of a street level with those kind of cultures before it gets into the big action scenes. But whatever, it was cool. And yeah, so for the most part, I just think people are capping a little bit too much, you know, because where this movie is great in terms of its multiverse stuff, it's a little bit messy. There's other things about it that hold it back for me from being um it could be top 15, top 20 comic book movies, but
Ooh.
talking about it like it's as good as certain comic book movies, which I think are the greatest comic book movies of all time, I don't know about that.
Well, I'm gonna say this. Yellow used to say that Into the Spider-Verse was the best superhero movie of all times. I
Hmm.
think this one is up there. I don't think Into the Spider-Verse is, but I think Across the Spider-Verse is up there. It could
Oh, I think
possibly
Into the Spider-Verse is
it could
it can be
possibly
a strength.
crack my top 5. This
I
movie.
don't think this is better than Dread. I don't think this is better than
Dread?
Yeah, I think Dread is better. I
No,
think
no, 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 no. It's way better than Dread.
I think like
It's better
even
than V
something
for
like
Vendetta.
X-Men First Class is like I don't
It's
know. Like,
way, bro. It is way better than X-Men First Class. What are we talking about here? We're talking about X-Men First Class, where they have a mutant that's
oh,
never supposed to be able to die, and he fucking dies. Like, what are we talking about?
okay, that was trash. We all agree that that bit was trash. Nobody is
the
denying
the
that it was.
saving grace in
But
that movie
in
is
terms of
Kevin
just
Bacon.
in just pure entertainment and good villain, good, you know,
Mm-mm,
like Magneto being a badass,
mm-mm.
Professor Xavier being cool. You know, in terms of that, I just enjoyed that movie better. Maybe because I'm more into the
Okay,
X-Men than Spider-Man,
so
but like
right,
uh
so you could say you enjoyed it better, but on a writing level, on a as a movie, there's no way
this
it's
one is
better than.
more ambitious, but it gets to be more ambitious because it's animated. We can't take
I
that
agree.
away.
I agree with that 100%.
And
I agree
I
with that
and
100%. Because even my son was
DC,
like, "It's hard to compare an animated with the
yeah,
actual live action." I agree with that.
because there are some DC animated movies that I would say are up there with this. They're just not in cinemas and
Oh
they're
yeah,
not
Public
hitting.
Enemy, 100%.
Yeah,
Batman,
so
Superman, Public Enemy, 100% up there with this, 100%.
yeah, so it's like it's just things like that that I kind of like. You
So
have to temper what you're saying here. I know
right.
it was a
So hold
theatrical
on.
release.
If we go to animated, right? We add the DC stuff in there because there's a lot of DC stuff that I like. I still say it's up there. It would probably be maybe not the top 5, but it could
Mhm.
possibly be top 10 for sure.
Oh yeah, it could be.
100%.
I'm not trying to like downgrade like what it is. I just don't think it's better than the best ever comic. Like I don't think it's better than Spider-Man 2. Honestly.
Oh yeah, it is. It is.
I don't think it's
It
better than
is.
Spider-Man 2.
Yeah, it is. It
I
is.
think I've got Spider-Man 2 above this. I've got all the MCU Spider-Man. It's better, and I'm not just saying that because I don't like MCU Spider-Man. I'm just saying genuinely, I think this movie is better than all of the MCU Spider-Man.
Well,
movies.
you see, this is the thing for me. When it
But-
comes to the Spider-Man movies, like No Way Home is the best one for me. Like it's better than Spider-Man 2. No Way Home is better than Spider-Man 2 for me. So I think this is better than No Way Home. So this is probably for a Spider-Man movie. We're talking like just ranking the Spider-Man movies. Yeah, it's number one. It's number one. Then I would go with No Way Home.
There's
Then I
parts
would
of
go.
me that wouldn't argue with that. You know, there's
So
parts of me that wouldn't argue with that. Like, it's just like when people say, and I know you hate this movie, and I know you're gonna go, oh, it's trash, blah blah blah. But when people say to me, you know, The Dark Knight is the greatest comic book movie of all time, I personally do not agree with that.
Right.
But I can see it. I can see it. I can see why people would say that, and that says something about the movie. That at least, you know, even if you don't agree, you can see it. But I just genuinely think Spider-Man 2, there's something about like just the entertainment value of it, along with the fact
it's fucking great.
Along with the fact that it explores and it delves into the meaning of Spider-Man, what this character actually is and what he means to us.
Spider-Man 2 is great.
I think it does it in a more accessible way than this movie. That's all I can say. I just think this movie is a little bit inaccessible.
You see, I think this movie has so many good layers to it. Like you said, if you want to say it, like Spider-Man 2 is more linear than anything, right? But I think this movie had so many layers to it. That's what pushes it over the top. Plus, you got great voice acting, you got great animation. The story to me, great score. Yeah, the writing and everything is good. So I would say it's this movie, Spider-Man No Way Home, Spider-Man 2, and then whatever else you want to put after that. I'd say Into the Spider-Verse, and then whatever.
To me, as a maybe it's a bit better than Amazing Spider-Man 1.
It's better. It's better than both of those fucking Andrew Garfield Spider-Man movies.
No. I think the Amazing Spider-Man 1 is it's underrated, but like I think this one's a little bit better than that.
You know what? I'm gonna watch Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man again because I'm sure I did, and I didn't enjoy it even when I watched it again. I'll do it again because I don't think it's underrated. You see, my thing is, I don't like the. We could do that.
I'll watch it with you because I don't think it's that bad at all.
You see, my problem is I don't like the kind of not nerdy Peter Parker. I don't like that. I don't like
nerdy in the movie. I don't know why people say just because he's got a little bit of swag doesn't mean he's not a nerd.
I didn't buy him. I bought Toby more as a nerd than he is, to be honest with you.
No, I bought Toby more as a nerd than he is, but that's not the point. He's a better Spider-Man than Toby.
You see, that's where I disagree with you there too.
I think his Spider-Man is on point, bro.
But we'll get into.
It's not Toby's fault because Toby didn't have enough of those spider quips to work with.
I can agree with that.
Toby's
I can agree he didn't have enough quips, but
Andrew's the better Spider-Man. That's the way I see it.
No, absolutely not. But we'll get into that when we'll do a watch party or something, and we'll watch it. Right. Yeah, we'll do it and watch it.
So just like before I go, like
final thoughts.
I would like to watch this movie again, but I do.
I'm gonna watch it.
I remember being really bored in the beginning, and it was I can't take away. I can't just like go, oh, just because of the third act like picked up a lot of steam, and I got into it by then, that I'm just going to ignore the fact that the parents were super annoying in the beginning. There was like long drawn out scenes. Action scenes seemed. I love action, but it seemed too long. You know, all of that stuff in the beginning kind of just put it down for me to a 7.5.
Okay. So for me, I wasn't like you. I wasn't bored at any time in this movie. I actually was like, when it ended, I was like, shit, I could have watched more of it, right? I didn't have a problem with the parents being the way they were, and more or less the father. But anyways, I don't think he was.
He
But
was
you see,
goofy. He was just
I didn't
goofy.
think so. I didn't get that.
He
I didn't
wasn't
get goofy
goofy in
from
the
him.
first movie,
I
which I
didn't get
didn't.
him as goofy. I think I understand that he's a little bit different, but I think it's because we got more of him than we did in the first one. You know what
Yeah,
I
but
mean?
it was.
And he was
Yeah,
more of a caring father, like, and he was he was conflicted with himself on whether he's doing a good job, if his son is, him and his son have this connection.
yeah, but
So I
that
didn't think he
whole
was goofy.
conversation with the son, it was just like going from jokes to serious to jokes, where Miles and him are talking on the bridge, and you
Yeah, but
know,
but he
like.
don't know he's Spider-Man. He don't know it. So
No,
Miles was
I know, but it was just like just have a serious conversation for
Nah,
a
I
moment.
love that.
You know,
I
like just
love
have
that
a little
seeing
bit
that
of
shit.
a
It was
conversation where
serious.
it went from serious to jokey. It was a tonal thing. Like they didn't know whether they wanted the scene to be just serious or just like like have humor to it. If you wanted to have humor to it, just don't discuss like a kind of serious thing at that moment, right? Because he's trying to say like, oh, he doesn't know about his son and blah blah blah, and it just makes the scene goofy. I was just like, I'm watching it and I'm thinking it's goofy, like, to be honest.
Oh
Um,
shit! I'm about to watch
but
this
I'll
movie
say
before I
this,
go to bed.
as I said, like I think Spider-Man fans will love this. So if you're a Spider-Man fan, this is probably going to be like your favorite Spider-Man movie. I don't see why it wouldn't be. And you know, or it's going to be one of your favorite Spider-Man movies. I think Spider-Man 2 will still probably have a lot of affection in people's hearts.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that this film will benefit because it's a little bit, as I said, a bit removed for me. It's a little bit like hard to get into for me because I'm not a Spider-Man fan. And I think this movie will benefit from the amount of Spider-Man fans there are. Like if you did a similar thing, if you did like almost the exact same thing, like but for another character, I'm telling you, you would feel the same way I'm feeling. Like if this was a Shazam movie or like like animated movie, or I don't know, some other kind of character like that you don't necessarily read the comics of and aren't watch all these shows and whatever about them, you might get a little bit like, this is weighing on me. Like it's a little bit confusing and it's weighing on me because.
You see, I kind of disagree with that because let's say this was the exact same, like let's say a Shazam movie, I would still
Yeah, where
enjoy
he's
it. Like
exploring the
I would,
magical realms or
right?
something.
I would 100% enjoy it because I'm invested in the characters, right? I really enjoyed a lot of the characters in this movie, the mother, the father. I enjoyed them. So if they did this exact same type of movie, but it was a Shazam movie, because I don't really follow Shazam, I would fucking love it.
No, but what I'm saying is you might find
No.
those scenes a little bit more dragging. Like if you're talking about the dad is talking to Shazam and it's taking like 5-10 minutes or whatever of the movie, and they're just having this comedic kind of thing and it's all wacky and whatever, it's because you like Spider-Man that you tolerate that scene. Whereas if it was a superhero that you're not so into, you'd be like, oh my god, can they stop making this a joke? This is a serious moment. I'm telling you, I know people.
But no, that I wouldn't be like that because I've like I said, like I'm not invested in a lot of the DC characters, but I love a lot of the fucking DC comic, the cartoons, right? The animations. I love a lot of them, if not all of them, right? And some of them have these kind of dragged out scenes, but I enjoy them, right? So it doesn't really, it for me, it's more of being invested in the characters. Like I said, if I'm invested in, like, let's say it was Shazam, and I was completely invested in the guy that's playing Shazam, the animation, the like Shazam, then all of that stuff I'd be able to put it past. I would be like, okay, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I'm cool with it. You know what I mean? So it depends. It depends for me.
Oh, fuck, I forgot the thing I was going to say. Well, it's a good movie.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we'll definitely do a spoiler review for it because we didn't really get into like a lot of the spoils. What up, Wolverine? How you doing, man? Thanks for popping in. So I don't know. I don't think I'm doing a tournament on Friday, maybe Saturday, whatever. You just got to tell me, give me a time that you're free, and we could do a spoiler review.
Do it instead of the tournament or whatever, right?
Yeah, I don't think I'm doing a tournament this Friday. I also wanted to make like let's K-Dot see it and that so he can come in and talk about it as well. You know, so we'll do that. Shout out your channel.
No, this is what I was going to say. You're
go ahead.
Super Pets is a better kids movie.
You are out of your fucking mind.
It's a better kids movie.
You are out of your fucking mind.
But
I like Super Pets though. I'm not gonna lie. I like Super Pets. It made me laugh. It was funny. I enjoyed it. And I enjoyed it, but it's not better than this. Absolutely not. No,
I said it's a better kids movie. I didn't say it's
not a better kids movie. It's not a better movie. It's just not.
This movie is going to be confusing to kids more than I want to see how. Again, they might luck out because there are a lot of kids who are Spider-Man fans. Overwhelmingly, the stuff I see with kids when it comes to like T-shirts and whatever, it's Spider-Man, right? That's overwhelming. Like with 5-year-olds up until 10, like where it gets more to be Batman and other characters later. But
yeah, Spider-Man is the most popular.
So
character.
He's not the most popular hero. He's the most popular hero amongst kids.
He's the most popular hero
amongst kids, like babies.
No, not even amongst kids. He is the most popular hero, nerd man. I'm sorry.
He's not the most popular hero.
Yes,
nothing,
he
bro.
is. Yes, he is. Yes, he is.
Just because you think because No Way Home made $2 billion, that was MCU.
No.
We'll see how much this one makes. I bet you this can't. We'll see. But what I was going to say is they might luck out with this movie that there are so many kids that are Spider-Man fans that they'll be able to sit through this in a way that they wouldn't be able to do for another superhero that hasn't got as much exposure to kids. Because Spider-Man, just like there always is an animated series of Spider-Man. I think Marvel does a really good job of marketing Spider-Man to kids. In a way that I don't know why DC, I don't know why they don't do this for other Marvel characters as well, like market them the way they market Spider-Man to kids. It's very, very, very weird for me. Stop it, man, with all this crap. I don't give a
10
crap
most
about these
popular
kind of
superheroes.
All right, go on. Let's see the 10 most popular. Let's see the 10 most popular superheroes.
Number 10 is Wonder Woman.
Okay, that's
number 9 is Aquaman.
I believe Aquaman is the
number 8 is Flash.
No, let's stop there for a second. Do you believe that Aquaman is the 9th most popular superhero? Because if you believe that, that's wacky.
Because of the movie, it's possible. Number 8 is the Flash. Number 7 is Captain America. Number 6 is the Hulk. Number 5 is Iron Man. Number 4 is Black Adam. I don't know what. I don't know about this Black Adam one though. I don't know about this Black Adam one though. To be honest with you. So number 3 is Superman. Number 2 is Batman, and number 1 is Spider-Man.
Let's just say that invalidates the whole list, right? Yeah.
No.
Number 4 is Black Adam. Completely.
Hold on. Here we go. Bro. Who is the most popular superhero in the world? Who's number 1 there?
It doesn't matter. I'm not talking about that. He's most popular amongst kids.
He's most popular regardless, bro. What are
He's
we
most
talking about
popular
here?
amongst kids,
Yeah,
bro.
Spider-Man is the most popular hero in comics. I know, Mike. Tell this guy. I know. We've had
Rogue,
this discussion
Rogue
before.
and Gambit is the most popular X-Men. Look, here's the thing.
And this is someone who owns a comic store, so I think he would know more than you.
He doesn't know anything. What are you
Yeah,
talking
whatever.
about? He owns the comic book
You just
store.
mad because it's not Batman.
You can own whatever. Look, let me break it down to you. This movie might survive off the fact that kids go and watch it, even though they're confused by it, because it's got Spider-Man in it. That's if this was Shazam across the Magic Verse or whatever, and it was the same tone as this movie and had all of these things without having, set this up with animated Shazam cartoons and, stuff like that, series that kids could get into. And they went into this same tone, same kind of thing with all the different art styles and everything like that. Kids would just switch off. So they might luck out because it's Spider-Man.
Here is the thing that I wanted to say to you. Oh, first off, let me say this. There was a chick had on a Gwen Stacy cosplay. Woo! Nice body, bro. That body was looking good. I was like, oh shit. But let me tell you this. There was no fucking kids in this movie. There were no kids at the theater.
Good. Then if it appeals to adults, then hopefully that's good.
That's who was there.
I just was surprised because I thought, oh, this is going to be a kids movie. Let me say this towards adults, then I think, and adults will go and watch an animated cartoon. They did it with, I guess, with Mario.
Let me say this, right?
Adults for that.
Let me say this, okay? Because I know we are here on YouTube and on Twitter. We think what we know, what we do is the real world, right? We think that because we know certain things, the fans that go, or normies or whatever, people that go to these movies know the same thing. I will tell you this. When that movie ended, the that I heard in that movie 100% showed me that 99%, including my son, had no idea that there was going to be another one after.
Yeah, sure.
And they dropped the ball because I'm going to tell you guys this so you don't sit there and wait. There's no end credit scene. And that too had the crowd going like, what? There's nothing? So Marvel,
they should have an end credit scene.
But the problem with that is Marvel has trained people so much to wait for end credit scenes that when they don't get one, they're disappointed. And I don't think every movie needs to have an end credit scene.
No, sure, but it should have had an end credit scene.
I don't mind that it didn't. I hate the fact that I fucking stayed and waited and there was nothing, right? And I should have asked you first because when the credits went up, I was like, shit, I should have asked Nerdman if there was.
Well, to be honest, I didn't wait till the end because I was just waited for so long, and I was like, "There's no."
I got you.
Like,
I got you. Yeah. So
like,
there was. So for those, yeah. So
I didn't actually genuinely know. I thought because usually there's a mid credits and then there's an end credits. When I saw like the mid credits, I just got this feeling there wasn't going to be one.
Yeah. So there was none, guys. So don't sit around and wait at the end for the credit scene because there is none. But I was like, okay, that's the thing. Like we talk all the time, right? We complain about certain things in the movies and this and that, and sometimes we even talk about them letting out too much information. But I think we know this information because we're the ones going and looking for it and on this platform and doing this. But the crowd that was there, even
they don't know. Yeah,
they don't know. Even when I went to go see No Way Home, you could tell that there were people that did not know that Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire were going to be in the movie because they cheered and they like, oh my God. And I was envious.
Yeah. It's true.
You know what I mean?
I have to go, though.
Yeah, we're gonna close it up. we're gonna close it up. Thank you for
immediately. I'm sorry, man. Peace.
Yeah. Peace out, guys. Yeah, so Nerdman had to bounce, and I am going to head out as well. Thank you everybody for popping in. We are going to do a spoiler stream. Maybe we'll do it tomorrow. We'll see. I'll talk to the guys and see what's going on. But other than that, man, thanks for everybody to come in. And I highly recommend this movie. Make sure you go see it. I hope it makes a lot of money because I definitely want the next one to be seen. And I want to see the next one. So with that being said, peace, love, and hair grease. And I will see you on the next one. Peace.
Real bad man, now we people dance. We take dancing to a higher rank. We spend pound and we spend franc. Shut up a new dance and a Jamaica and drunk. Yes, on the river, on the bank. Kick out the shoes because you put them your camp. When I stay in the river, on the bank. Shut up a new dance and a Jamaica and Bronx. Yeah, down the flank, we a go down the flank. Like a baller, we go down the flank. You're cheap, pretty young, get in your tank. But the new dance, you know where people can't pull. Give them a run, give them a run. Give them a run, we are the girls that have come. Give them a run, give them a run, give them a run, we are the girls that have